Hi there. We all know what FIFA is, and if you know a thing or two about conspiracy theories about power and corruption, the FIFA organization is on that list. Can you imagine half of the people on Earth watching a single sporting event at the same time? Well, that happened in 2018 when the World Cup held in Russia was watched by approximately 3.5 billion viewers as reported by FIFA either on TV or on digital platforms. In 2022, FIFA World Cup matches were being viewed by a record number of people. But have you ever wondered how FIFA's financial strategy works? How does FIFA make an income as an organization? And why do countries from all across the world desire to host the World Cup? So before we get into the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below saying, "I subscribed." We'll try our best to respond to as many comments as we can personally on this video. So now, let's get straight into the video. Robert Guerin started it in 1904. He gathered delegates from 7 member countries together in Paris, where they signed the FIFA Foundation Act. He was FIFA's first president following its inception. In 118 years, there have been 211 FIFA-affiliated teams. Surprisingly, these teams do not always represent countries. Some of these teams represent particular territories from certain nations. Macau and the Virgin Islands are 2 such examples. They have a FIFA squad, although they are not independent countries. These teams are organized into 6 larger confederations. FIFA has a confederation in each continent. One thing that may surprise you is that despite earning billions of dollars, FIFA is an NGO, a nonprofit organization. The goal of its founding is to promote football all around the world. However, FIFA, like other non-governmental organizations or NGOs, undertakes social development projects. For example, Education for All, Save the Earth, and Children Must Be Protected. The FIFA Foundation was established in 2018 as a standalone organization with the goal of harnessing the good power of football to enhance people's lives. FIFA's main decision-making body is the FIFA Council. The FIFA Council is made up of 37 members. The Congress selects a president of the council, 8 vice presidents, and 28 other members. FIFA works on a 4-year financial cycle. Its seasons center on World Cups. FIFA generated $6.4 billion in income during the 2015-2018 cycle. That includes the 2018 World Cup. The 2018 World Cup accounted for 83% of the $6.4 billion in income. Revenue might well exceed $10 billion in the following cycle. These cycles are nearly double in size. What are the causes of this? There are 2 basic reasons behind this. First, let's talk about their new financing approach for women's football. Separate sponsorship arrangements have already been secured for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup, which will be held in Australia and New Zealand. As the Women's World Cup grows in popularity, FIFA has a new source of cash. The second reason is that the FIFA World Cup in 2026 will be on a grander scale. There will be 48 teams competing instead of 32. There will be more football matches, and with more matches, marketers will have more opportunities to present their material, and the audience's attention will be focused on the World Cup for a longer period of time. The United States, Canada, and Mexico will host the World Cup in 2026. One thing is certain, because the FIFA World Cup is the most popular competition in FIFA, the FIFA World Cups produce 95% of FIFA's income. Let's look at the numbers from the 2015 to 2018 cycle. Broadcasting rights are the first and most important source of earnings. The preceding cycle earned $6.4 billion, with TV rights accounting for $3.1 billion of that total. The World Cup is broadcast in over 140 countries, and each country has its own TV station where you can watch these football events. These television networks pay FIFA to get the rights to broadcast the matches on their networks. India, for example, Reliance-backed Viacom 18 secured the deal for $4.5 billion. As a result, you may watch FIFA matches on Channel Sports 18 and the Geo Cinema app. The second source is marketing rights. FIFA made about $1.66 billion from the last World Cup cycle. Various corporations and brands pay FIFA to have their advertisements aired during matches. FIFA partner companies are at the top of the list. Adidas, Coca-Cola, Wanda Group, Hyundai Kia, Qatar Airways, Qatar Energy, and Visa are just a few examples. Then there are the World Cup sponsors. Who pays to have their advertisements appear just during the World Cup? McDonald's, Vivo, Crypto.com, Budweiser, and Baiju's are among them. Then there are the regional backers. FIFA's Hublot official timekeepers are Boss, Fine Wipes, and Yadia. These businesses paid FIFA to air their advertisements, and they account for around 26% of total income. When the two streams, the broadcasting rights and the marketing rights, are combined, they account for around 75% of FIFA's earnings. The third income source is selling tickets. The money was created by the stadium crowd as well as the tickets sold at the stadiums. Ticket sales earned FIFA $564 million in the previous round. The estimates for the 2022 World Cup are about 3 million tickets sold, for an average price between $220 and $550. Just do the math. Another $148 million was generated by the hospitality and lodging rights during the FIFA World Cup in 2018. This segment accounted for around 11% of total sales. The fourth source is FIFA's brand licensing rights. For example, in order to include FIFA's emblem in a video game or a football game, the rights must be purchased from FIFA. This generated $600 million in the previous cycle. The FIFA World Cup Grand Final 18 is one example of this. The aggregate of the remaining minor sources is the fifth and final source. For example, the FIFA Club World Cup and FIFA World Football Museum. And let's not forget about the film and video rights that are being sold. Just imagine that for the 2022 World Cup, the total prize was $440 million. The winning team got $42 million. The runner-up team got $32 million. And then there's the distribution among the remaining teams in decreasing order, ranging from $27 million to $9 million. Now, how much does it cost the host country to organize the games? Many mainstream media publications, including Forbes and Bloomberg, predicted that Qatar spent over $200 billion to organize the 2022 World Cup. However, that figure is a little deceptive because Qatar's hosting of the World Cup is viewed as part of the Qatar National Vision 2030. Qatar constructed a new metro system in preparation for the World Cup. Obviously, the inhabitants will make use of it later. In its capital city, Doha, they rebuilt the airport, erected new hotels, and created new neighborhoods. A chunk of the money was spent on anything other than the World Cup. It will also be used after the global event. Regardless, the cost of holding the World Cup in Qatar was in the range of billions of dollars. The matches, for example, took place at 8 different locations throughout Qatar. 7 of them were explicitly developed for this World Cup. The government stated that the stadium construction cost was $6.5 billion. Several nations, including the United States, South Korea, Japan, and Australia, had submitted bids to host the 2022 World Cup. Qatar was picked from among them. This sparked several debates. Corruption was also mentioned. The FIFA World Cup being held in new nations, according to the then FIFA president Sepp Blatter, was a great enhancement. It was the first time a Middle Eastern country hosted the FIFA World Cup. However, the same individual now claims that permitting them to host the World Cup was a mistake. Why? This is due to a number of factors. Several scandals have erupted in Qatar. First, there's migrant exploitation. Workers from Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Nepal were reportedly compelled to labor. They could not change employment, leave the country, or had to wait months for their paychecks. FIFA asks the government of the nation hosting the World Cup to provide 7 assurances and declarations. These assurances are linked to a number of difficulties. Visas, permits, and immigration complications, for example. Work licenses and exemptions from labor laws. Security and safety. Commercial rights must be protected and exploited. Telecommunications, indemnification waivers, and other legal concerns. Finally, there are tax breaks. FIFA puts so many standards on any country that wants to host the World Cup that it must satisfy all of them. They'll have to carry the full expense, and the disputes are nearly a given at this time. This may make you wonder what a country gains by hosting the World Cup. Why would any country want to host the World Cup when the costs are so high? The largest advantage of hosting the event is thought to be an increase in the country's soft power. If the country successfully stages an event of this magnitude, it demonstrates that they are relatively stable and financially secure, making it a desirable alternative for foreign investment. However, in the case of Qatar, because of the numerous problems, opponents say that it would not attract a large number of foreign investors, and hence will not be a significant advantage to them. The second advantage is that freshly constructed stadiums will be available for use by citizens and inhabitants of the country in the future. This will benefit the country's sports. But does this actually happen? The reverse is true in many countries. After the end of the World Cup, the newly built stadiums are left useless. Another benefit is the development of the infrastructure in the country, but in developing countries, it has the opposite impact. The existing infrastructure gets heavily strained. Perhaps we can infer that hosting a World Cup in developing nations like Brazil and India isn't as advantageous as it can be in wealthier countries. Aside from this, another advantage is stated to be an increase in GDP. People from all over the world would visit if a country hosted a World Cup, bringing with them foreign reserves and pushing up tourism in the country. This advantage is beyond doubt. The point is, if a country hosts the World Cup, it will have to do its own estimates in order to determine if it will make a profit or lose money and if the overall impact will be favorable or not. Then they must determine whether or not to host the World Cup. Because Qatar has the greatest GDP in the world, despite these problems, the World Cup may have a favorable influence on Qatar. What do you think? Comment down below. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This will help our channel grow. And if you want to see more business stories and the video is available for you, it'll pop on your screen. See you again soon.